Hi, Reading Rangers. Welcome. Again, this is Mrs. Hannon coming to you not from Hohenfels Elementary School, but from the Fairly Sad Home Office again. So I'm starting a new five-part series by request from the amazing Mrs. Betterman. Much love to you out there. And this is for early reading skills, all right, pre-reading skills even. What are the things that have to be in place for a child to successfully read, right? So there are five things. I'm going to do a separate video for each one of them, okay, because it's easiest that way. Today's video is number one, motivation. A child has to be motivated to read. So what does that look like? All right. Well, when a child is showing interest in reading, they'll often, if you've been in the habit of reading to them nightly for a little bedtime tuck-in story, they'll start bringing the book to you at other times of the day. Mama, read. Mama, read. You bet you're going to read any time of day when kiddo shows interest, right? Kiddos who are motivated to read will also point. They're starting to understand that those squiggles on the page mean something. All right. They might also try to grab at the pages of a book. So if you have like precious hand-me-down books, this is not the time for those. Okay. Time for sturdy board books that are kid tough. And you also might catch kiddo pretending to read by themselves. That's a child who has motivation to read. Okay, so how do you foster motivation to read? Well, like I said earlier, you want to be reading at least once a day with kiddo, and it doesn't have to be right at bedtime. Some kids are so wound up at bed, it's not a good time to read. You might read in the morning as they wake up, whenever it's good for you. All right, you also want to model reading, excuse me. That's better. You also want to model reading yourself, right? Because kids do what we do, not what we say. So if you're reading yourself, a kid is more likely to be motivated in being like mom or dad. So let me show you some of the cool books that it's time to break out in those early pre-reading stages. Like I said, tough board books are the way to go, okay? Here, I just pulled a few from my kids, they're teenagers now, but they hung on to a few of their favorites from their pre-reading days. This is Bobby Bear. It's a nice board book, nice and tough. Nobody's going to destroy that. And it's a touchy-feely book. So those hands that want to grasp and point, they've got something tactile, all right, that changes with each page. Here we have a shiny nose. Last page we had a furry chest. All right. Oh, here's a little sparkle in a butterfly. Oh, and the horns are velvety. You get the idea, right? So that gives kids something to touch and feel while you're reading the text. Lots of fun. All right. Here's the classic touchy-feely book, Pat the Bunny. Not a board book, so, I'm surprised this one survived, quite frankly, but you can see you can pat the bunny. Right? So these are great pre-reader books to read aloud. I also want to encourage you to read rhyming books at this stage, okay? Rhyming book, if a kid can't read, they can't rhyme. I did a whole video. If they can't rhyme, they can't read. I did a whole video on that, right? So this is, we're going on a bear hunt, all right? And can't go over it, can't go under it. Oh no, we've got to go through it. All right, so repetitive text, squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy, squishy, squashy. All right, so kids get that phonemic awareness in their ears, and that leads to another piece of the pre-reading skills, which is phonemic awareness, and we'll talk about that later. But so just to recap, kiddo's going to be showing interest in the early stages of reading. Foster that. All right, board books are nice and tough. And you want things that rhyme, things that kids can touch and feel, all right? So I will tune in with you again for the second piece of pre-reading skills tomorrow. All right, all the best. Bye-bye.